are going to work on some hip opening postures today. Because we did skip last week, and I normally like to designate 2 weeks for the hip opening practice. This is going to have a lot of hip opening and not as much of the review of some of the other previous postures from previous weeks. So I would like to try to get back onto track and then get through a lot of these postures. And a lot of these postures that we'll be practicing today, you're going to be opening up a lot of the external hip rotators. These are the ones that get really tight if you've been sitting or if you walk or if you run on a regular basis, because these tend to stabilize the hip and the knee joint because of the way that they work in the body. So if you feel a lot of tightness in this area, don't worry about it. It's probably taken you a lifetime to get to that tightness. So if it doesn't just magically feel like, oh, this is phenomenal and this feels great, don't worry about that. It does take some time and some practice. We will learn we'll do some meditation a little bit closer towards the end. So today's practice is going to feel more nurturing, and it'll feel more stretchy in addition to just being a little bit more on the relaxing side. So I hope you guys enjoy this. We're going to start off on our backs today. So, the glorious floor. So you can either find your way into your half corpse pose, Shavasana, or you can have your legs straight out for the full version. And we're just going to go through some deep, slow breaths. So either hands on your belly for your 3-part breath, or you can have your arms down by your sides if that feels more natural for you. I want you to take a full breath in through your nose, let it fill up into your belly. And exhale out. Full breath into your belly, then let it rise up into your chest. And out the chest and the belly. And then filling up into your belly, chest, and then last at the low throat. And exhaling out the throat, chest, and belly. Fill up. And empty out. Keep breathing ever so slowly, allowing other parts of your body to relax and settle in. And just keeping your focus in on your breath. Allowing the breath to fill up and expand. Allowing the breath to stretch you from the inside. Allowing that breath to lastly just relax and put you at ease. It's natural for the exhalation to relax us, to ground us. And we're going to go through a breathing technique known as the counting breath, or vritti breath. And this counting breath, it'll give you a pace. So how long you'll be breathing in will be a 6 count. How long we'll be holding or retaining the breath will be a 3 count. We'll exhale for a 6 count, and we'll pause at the bottom of the exhale for a 3 count. So let's start off by exhaling fully out, and then inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold the breath for 1, 2, 3. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath out 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold 1, 2, 3. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold 1, 2, 3. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold 1, 2, 3. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold 1, 2, 3. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 3, 2, 1. Do 2 more rounds on your own, your pace of counting. After you're done with those 2 cycles, take a full breath in. Open up your mouth and exhale, let out a sigh. Let's inhale and stretch the arms up and overhead. Reach long throughout the entire body, through fingers, through toes, stretch. Maybe a big yawn comes out. And then exhale, take your right knee into your chest for wind releasing pose. Hug that leg in. Good. I want you to circle out your right ankle. Just start to stir with that right big toe and keep that left leg nice and long. Toes, left toes point up towards the sky. And circle around in the other direction. Good. And then bring the ankle back to stillness. Take another full breath in here. Good. And then I want you to place your right hand on top of your kneecap. Left hand's going to go onto your hip. I want you to stir your right knee around. So you're moving from the hip joint, making big circles. And then we're going to make these circles go ever so small. So you're going to go from big to small circles until that knee is right in the middle. And then you change directions going from small to big. Make a big spiral shape. And then keep circling around and around a couple more times. And then bring the knee back to stillness. Extend your right leg out in front of you and then squeeze your left knee in all the way into your chest, wind releasing pose on your left side. Keep your right leg long, reaching out through the heel, the toes point straight up. Good. And then circle out your left ankle. Keep breathing, filling up into the belly, expanding in the chest. And then circle around in the other direction. And bring that ankle to pause. Left hand comes onto your left kneecap, right hand onto the front of your hip. You're going to start with big circles with your left knees, circling all the way around. Good. And let those circles start to become smaller. Good. And then circling in the other direction, going from those small circles and making your way all the way around to those big circles, just only in the other direction. Wonderful. And bring it back into stillness. This time you're going to take your right knee in to meet your left. And I want you to rock side to side, massaging along your back. Both knees are touching, both inner ankles are touching. Try to keep them side by side instead of crossed. Now we're going to make our way into what is known as happy baby pose. And I'm going to show you a couple different directions just so you can see a little bit better of this. But if you know this posture, you feel free to come into it on your own. Your knees are going to go wider than your torso, and your feet are going to separate as well. Okay, so everything should be nice and wide. See if you can bring them wider than your rib cage. Now you're going to keep your knees where they are, your thighs up along the sides of your waist. You're going to bring your feet up towards the sky. If you need to see this, go ahead and look at your camera. You can see how I've got a 90-degree angle at my knee. Okay, I've got a 90-degree angle at my knee, and my hips are fully flexed. So I've got those legs all the way up in towards my chest. Do the best that you can to keep your feet apart. And you can either have your hands along the back of the thighs. You can walk up towards the calves, the ankles, the outsides of the feet, or your toes, your big toe. And so you'll take your peace fingers, first and middle fingers. They go right between that big toe and second toe. You loop it around the big toe, so yogi toe grab, just like we did in our extended big toe pose. So with this, you want to think of the knee plunging down towards the ground. So the shin is fully vertical. You don't want to have it where your feet are tucked back by your hips. And if you have your legs a little too close, you're going to have a difficult time getting your knees all the way down. See if you can separate your knees out as wide as possible. So you have this big open stretch. And I'm not going to turn you fully so that you're staring at my bottom. I'm just going to turn slightly sideways so you can see a little bit more of that 90-degree angles, and you can see how the legs are wider than my belly. Now you have some options here. You can start to just rock side to side, kind of dipping one knee down at a time. If you prefer more of a static position and just staying there, you can work with that. But sometimes it feels good just to massage the spine and the muscles along the spine and get into this rocking position. Now, some of you may have your bottom pretty high up. You've got this curled up position here. Eventually, in time, you're going to be able to get your hips really heavy. So it feels like you're pressing your tail towards the ground. You're going to feel a little bit more of that stretch into your hamstring. So there's a lot going on with this. But it's a really nice posture, and I find it's especially good for the low back as well. All right, bring yourself back into stillness. I want you to bring the soles of the feet together, knees stay out wide, scoop your hands between the legs, and then grab a hold of the outsides of the ankles. You're kind of scooping the feet in towards your face. Keep your knees wide. You can use your elbows to help encourage the knees apart. Good, just nice stretch here. And then slowly release. Draw the legs together again. You're going to roll over onto one side. I'm going to turn a little bit. You're going to press your hands into the floor and make your way all the way up to a seated position. All right. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of groin and hip opening here. We define the hips as this area of including the pelvis, a little bit of just everything that surrounds that pelvic area or region. You're going to have your feet together, knees out wide. This one is called bound angle or cobbler's pose. And cobbler's pose gets its name because the cobbler would put its shoes that they were working on, it's not like the peach cobbler, between their feet, and then they would work on the soles of the shoes or the bottoms of the shoes. So I want you to grab a hold of the front of the ankles and use the strength of your buttocks to press the knees down towards the ground. Okay, do the best that you can to do that. So you're using your own muscular strength. I don't want you burying your elbows into your legs. Use your strength and then lift yourself up taller, pressing down through your sit bones and grow the spine upwards. Shoulder blades slide down and away from your face. Now I want you to tip to the front of your pelvis, go to the front of those sit bones into that 6 o'clock tilt. And then see if you can just find a little bit of that opening there. Good. Now start to lift yourself up. We're going to do some pelvic tilts forward and back. I want you to rock back going into that 12 o'clock tilt. So belly button digs deep into your spine. You're going to feel like you're rounding back in that rounded cat shape of your spine. And then I want you to lift up tall and then start to tip forward, reaching your chest out in front of you. Inhale up and then exhale back to 12 o'clock. Good. Inhale, lifting up, and then exhale, dipping forward into your anterior tilt. Inhale up, and then exhale, going to posterior, so rounding 12 o'clock tilt of the pelvis. Good. Inhale up, and then exhale forward. Inhale up, and exhale forward. Good. Inhale up, exhale forward. We're going to go through my personal favorite, which are Sufi rolls. You're going to move your body over towards the right leg. You're going to dip back, rounding through the spine into that 12 o'clock tilt, and then circle around towards the left leg, going towards your anterior tilt. So we're just making those big circular movements of the pelvis, but this also helps to grab along the low back and all of those muscles that do help to support. So you're getting into a little bit more of those obliques, quadratus lumborum, your QL. Oh, that feels so good. Get to your lats. Yeah, that should feel really nice. And the next time that your hips go forward, you're going to change direction, circling around towards the left, scooping back and around, and then over towards the right. Go through a few more rounds here. And just identifying where the body feels tight. What's interesting is that a lot of people who come to the yoga practice, especially for low back pain, find that it's not just the low back that's causing them pain, and that it's coming from some other place. Maybe it might be tight hamstring. Maybe it might be tight hips. Maybe it might be a weakened core. And there's a whole host of things might be causing the end result, which might be that low back pain. All right, circle around towards your feet and then make your way up. All right, we're going to make our way up onto all fours and go through some cat-cow. So you can either cross at the ankles and come up onto your hands and knees, or swing the legs around and make your way up into your tabletop position. Good. So hands are going to be directly underneath your shoulders. Fingertips are spread out again. Knees are underneath your pelvis. Inhale, go through some cat-cows with the tail up. Head and crown, tail go up. Exhale, round the spine into your cat. Really pull the navel up and in and tuck your chin into chest. Inhale, open up. And exhale, round and curl. Inhale, open up. And exhale, round and curl. Inhale, open up. And exhale, round and curl. Good. Inhale to a neutral position. Now, this next work is going to be stretching out our feet and our calves. It might be a little intense, though, just a little heads up on that. I want you to bring your knees together, your big toes to touch. You're going to curl your toes underneath. Get them under, see if you can get that little pinky toe under too. Now, I want you to sit your hips back. Your hands can be forward for right now. Then you're going to start to walk them in. Find a place where it feels like you are okay. Eventually, you're going to make your way up until you're balancing on your toes, on the balls of the feet. Your knees are down on the ground and you're sitting upright. Now, for some of us, we might start to feel this immediately and you're like, oh, I can't handle it. If you need to lessen the intensity, hands come forward, and then you can lift your bottom up a little bit more, okay? So finding whichever level or gradient of this is most appropriate for right now. Keep your heels squeezing in towards each other. Yeah, it's a pretty good stretch, isn't it? And I want you to see if you can breathe through this. Relax your jaw. And we're going to do another breathing technique. This one is, it didn't post it in your breathing techniques from the other week, but this one is it's actually a posture as well as a breathing technique, and it's known as lion's breath. And I find that this is particularly silly. You do this by actually sticking out your tongue, crossing your eyes, and making a loud roar. So see if you can stick your tongue out as far as possible, and it'll look kind of like this. Okay. Now, if you would like to unmute yourself, you certainly can. So I'm not the only one doing this together. But if you feel super silly, then I get it. We're going to do 3 rounds of this because I know that you guys are like coming out of this stretch of your feet. But this is especially important that we do some of this breathing as it gets really intense for our feet. So let's go ahead and start up. Take a full breath in. Exhale, cross your eyes, stick out your tongue, and make out a roar. Big breath in. Stick out your tongue, cross your eyes, roar. Another time, one more. All right, go ahead and come out of the pose. Gently lift your feet up off the ground. Just let them naturally relax. Then you're going to lower the feet down. Once they feel that they're okay, you're going to bring the tops of the feet on the ground to the toenail side and just gently want you to pat. Soft little pat. And then take a child's pose. Knees can go wide for your child's pose. Hips sit all the way back on top of your heels, and the forehead comes down to the mat. And do whatever it is that makes your calves feel like they're relaxing a little bit more. You feel the weight sitting back on those heels nicely. Wonderful. Rise up onto all fours. You're going to curl the toes under and take it back in a downward facing dog. Hips high, head low. You might actually feel a little bit more space and opening in your downward facing dog just because of opening up those calves and the feet in that last position when we were doing our lion's breath. Take another few moments here. If you need to pedal out the feet, you can certainly do so. Maybe shake your head, yes or no. Releasing any tension in the neck and shoulders, the upper part of the spine. Good. And then bring your big toes to touch, heels slightly together.
And I want you to reach your right leg up to the sky back behind you, lifting it all the way up towards the sky. Good. Turn your belly towards the right. So you're stacking your hips almost. And then exhale, sweep the right foot forward between your thumbs. Bring it all the way there. Sink your hips down, chest lifts up, coming into your lunge. Lengthen back through your left heel and get your hips nice and heavy. Good. Another full breath in here. Then exhale, you're going to straighten out your right leg, bow the head forward. Again, that right leg doesn't need to be all the way straight, just working towards the stretch. Inhale as you sink your hips down and forward, lift the chest up. And then exhale, straightening out the front leg. Bow the head down, relax the neck and spine. Inhale, bend, sink the hips. And then exhale, stretch and straighten. Good. Inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips. I want you to plant your left hand down on the ground, right hand on top of the knee, moving into your twist. So feeling the belly, turning towards the right leg. Good. Another full breath in here. Take your right hand down to the ground. We're going to lift the hips up. Walk the hands over towards the left, coming into standing wide leg forward fold. So I'm going to change directions so that you don't see my bottom. And I just want you to have your legs in a straight position. Toes are turned slightly in, and you're trying to bring your head towards the ground. Hands can be along the floor just to support you. And then see if you can put that weight forward into your toes. That weight forward into the toes gives you that almost that downward momentum for the spine and the torso so that you can hinge a little bit deeper into the pose. Good. Another full breath in here. Wonderful. Then you're going to walk your hands over to your left foot. So go all the way around, and now you should be facing the back end of the mat. Sink your hips down. You should find yourself in that lunge shape. Hips sink down, chest lifts up. Good. And then exhale, straightening up the left leg, bow the head forward and down. Inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, lift the chest up. Exhale, straightening out the leg, bow the head down. Inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, lift the chest. And then exhale, straighten and bow. Good. Inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips forward and down into your lunge. Right hand plants on the floor, left hand stacks on the knee. Press down and move into your twist. Good. Take another full breath in here. Keep turning from the rib cage, wrapping around towards the left leg. Nice. And then left hand comes down to the ground. I want you to walk your hands towards the center yet again, coming into your standing wide leg forward fold. Bowing the head down. Good, then you're going to walk the hands all the way over to your right foot again. So going to the front edge of your mat into your lunge shape, stepping back, downward facing dog. Wonderful. Inhale, bring your big toes together again. Lift your left leg up towards the sky. Turn the belly towards the left. Exhale as you step the left foot forward between your thumbs. Coming into your lunge again. And then you're going to step your right foot forward, standing forward fold. Hips stay high, head hangs down low. Weight is forward in your toes. So you can, if you wanted to, you can even slip a piece of paper underneath your heels. That's how much weight is in the toes and not in the heels. You want to feel that downward pouring of the spine to the ground. Good. All right, round your back, pull the navel in, and slowly roll yourself all the way up to stand. Lifting up tall and getting hit in the head with a palm tree. All right, standing in your mountain pose, please. We'll go through
a few rounds of our sun salutations. I just want you to get nice and warmed up in your hips. Let's inhale, circle the arms out and up, upward hand salute. Exhale, fold in half, hinging from the hips. Head drops. Inhale, right foot steps back, lunge, hips down, chest lifts, look up. Exhale, left foot steps back, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward into plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin to the floor. Inhale, cobra. Hips down, chest up, elbows pull to the back of the room. Exhale, bow, take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps forward, look where you want it to go, and then sink your hips forward and down, chest and head up. Exhale, left foot steps forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come all the way up, hands to the sky, upward hand salute. Exhale to mountain pose, arms down by your side. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold in half, hinge from the hips. Inhale, left foot steps back into lunge, hips down, chest lifts, look up, smile. Exhale, right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, bow, and take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, look between the hands, left foot steps all the way forward, hips down, chest lifts, look up. Exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come all the way up, and exhale to mountain pose. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, fold forward, hinge from the hips and take it down. Inhale, right foot back into lunge, hips down, chest lifts, look up. Exhale, left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, bow, take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, lunge, hips down, chest lift. Exhale, left foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come all the way up. And exhale to mountain pose. One more. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, fold forward, hinge from the hips and take it down. Inhale, left foot back into lunge, hips down, chest lift, look up and smile. Exhale, right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, bow, take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps forward, top edge of the mat, hips sink, chest lifts, look up. Exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come all the way up. And exhale to mountain pose. Stand tall, rooting through your feet, through your heels. Take another full breath in here and deep breath out. All right. Now we're going to go through another flow right now. And this one's going to incorporate our eagle arms that we learned from a couple weeks ago. Remember, those are the ones where we have one arm crossed over the other, and the fingertips are pointed up towards the sky. We've got that double wrap here so that the wrists are wrapping a second time over those elbows that are wrapped. We're going to go through our eagle arms and we're going to incorporate a squat. So this one's going to get deep into the hips to the best that you can through these movements, okay? So before we do the eagle arm version of this, and those of you who do have some issues with ankle mobility and flexibility, especially if you have a lot of tension in your calves or compression there, what you can do is you can take your towel, if you have a towel, and you can roll it up quite a bit, and this will go underneath your heels, okay? So that might give you a little extra lift so you don't have to have such a deep bend in the ankle joint, in that dorsiflexion version of it. Okay? All right, so I want you to stand about hip distance apart. And I want you to have your toes right now turned to face forward. Okay? We're going to go into the arm movement on this, the next few rounds, but we're just going to go through this type of spinal motion on the first couple times. All right, so with this one, I want you to take a full breath in, lift up tall, and then exhale. You're going to nod your head down towards your chest and start to roll yourself forward and down. As you're in your slumped position, you're going to turn your toes out to the side. So about 10 and 2 o'clock position. Your knees are going to go in the same direction as your toes. You're going to inhale, bend your knees, sink your hips, and lift the chest up. This is our squat. And then you're going to exhale. We're going to lift our hips back up. So we're not going to stay in the squat very long. You're going to lift your hips up and come into your standing forward fold. Turn the toes to face forward. Good. Then I want you to take a full breath in here. You're going to exhale, round through your spine, and roll yourself up to stand. Good. Then you're going to exhale and we'll release back into our mountain pose. All right, so another round. Take a full breath in. Exhale, nod the head down, roll through the spine. Toes turn out. Bend the knees, inhale, squat. Exhale, turn the toes forward, hips high, standing forward fold. Another full breath here. And then exhale, roll yourself all the way up to stand. Inhale the head high, and exhale, standing tall in your mountain. All right, so now we're going to incorporate the arms for this nice little flow. It's one of my favorite flows from an instructor named David Regelin. You're going to inhale, bring the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, bring the arms into your eagle arm. Start with the right arm on top first. Loop through the fingertips. All right. You're going to take an inhale. You're going to lift the elbows up towards the sky. See if you can point the fingertips towards the sky behind you or the wall behind you. You're going to exhale, draw the elbows in, point the fingertips towards the floor. You're going to round your spine all the way down into your standing forward fold with the fingertips touching towards the floor. Turn the toes out wide. Inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips. Come into your eagle pose with your arms and your legs are in your squat. Good, that's your inhale. Then you're going to exhale, press to the feet, lift the hips, turn the toes. Take another full breath in here. And then exhale, round the spine, roll yourself all the way up. Inhale, elbows to sky, and exhale, release the arms down. Inhale, let's bring the arms up. Let's try it the other side. Exhale, sweep the left arm on top of the right, bend at the elbows and wrap through the wrists. Inhale, elbows and forearms towards the sky, like you're holding the ceiling with your arms. Exhale, pull the elbows in towards your navel, point the fingertips forward, round the spine a lot, and come into your standing forward fold with eagle arms. Turn the toes out. Inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, come into your squat with eagle arms. Exhale, press to the feet, lift the hips, turn the toes forward. Full breath into your back. Exhale, pull the navel in, roll yourself up. Inhale, elbows up towards the sky, and then exhale, sweep the arms down by your side. Do it one more time on each side. Inhale, arms go up. Exhale, right arm crosses on top of the left, bend the elbows and wrap at the wrist. Inhale, elbows and forearms. Find a little bit of a back arch, so hips forward, elbows up high. Exhale, elbows tuck in, round the spine, tuck, tuck, tuck. Inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, turn the toes out. Find that squat. Good. Exhale, press to the feet, hips high, toes forward, head down. Big in-breath. Exhale as you round the spine, roll yourself up. Inhale, elbows to sky, and exhale, the arms sweep down. Inhale, arms go up. Exhale, draw the arms down,
Left arm crosses over the right. Inhale, elbows up. Exhale, elbows tuck into your belly button. Fingertips point down, round the spine into your fold. Inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, turn the toes out, squat. Exhale, standing forward fold. Hips go high, toes forward, head dip drop. Inhale, and then exhale, roll yourself all the way up. Inhale, the elbows up. And exhale, release the arms down. All right. So that should have felt like a lot of back opening, but then also a lot of movement in those hips and giving our hips the opportunity to have strength there. All right, so now I want you to take your hands back behind you. Let's come into that opposite effect. Once the fingertips interlace, heels to grab in towards each other, draw the knuckles towards the floor, lift the chest up, and then exhale, standing forward fold. Good, let the knuckles reach towards the ground, taking them away from your hips. Good, hands come to your buttocks, slide them all the way down. We're gonna come into a squat. So we're gonna hold it a little bit longer. Toes turn out to 10 and 2, and then draw your hips down. Now those of you who might be having a little bit trouble in this position, sometimes if our feet are too narrow in our squat, we have a harder time coming into this position. So I suggest try to widen your feet as much as you can. It should be actually almost wider than your hips for some of us. And then that might be able to allow you to get your heels down towards the ground. All right, so in this position, you have a couple options in your squat position. You can have your knees on the outside of your elbows and use your elbows to help encourage the knees out wide. I personally like to do this without using my elbows, but using the strength of my buttocks, okay? So see if you can either have your hands in that prayer shape, but not actually using your elbows to pry the knees open. Use the outsides of your feet, press into those, send your shins apart, and really feel how you have that strength to open up the groin and give you that deeper sensation in your squat. Good. Feel like those elevator doors are opening up in your shins. Good. Hands to the floor, hips go high, turn the toes forward, standing forward fold. Good. Inhale, sweep the arms wide, come up with a flat back all the way up. We're gonna switch the arms out, try that one more time. Exhale, hands come down. Change the crossing of your fingers, so opposite thumb on top. Inhale, hips go forward. Find that big opening in the front of the pelvis. Exhale, standing forward fold. Take the knuckles all the way overhead. Hands come to your buttocks. Slide them all the way down towards your heel. Good. And then turning the toes out wide to the side. Drop your hips down. Drop into a squat. And see if you can use that strength of your buttocks to help open the knees apart. Good. Full breath there. This is such a great posture for so many things. And it's a very common posture to see throughout the world. People, will naturally birth in this position. People use the restroom in this position. It's a great way to get down closer to the ground to work. Just our society has the, this tendency towards chairs and sitting higher up, which is not as functional for our hips in the long run, although they can be pretty plush and nice. All right, hands to the floor, lift the hips up, turn the toes to go forward, and come into your standing forward fold. Good. Now, keeping your legs nice and wide, I want you to widen your feet even more so they're about to the outer edges of your mat. You should be closer towards the top edge of our mat. I want you to bring your hands to the inside. We're going to step our left foot back, almost like we're stepping back into a lunge, but our hands are along the inside of the leg.
Notice how my right shoulder's on the inside of the leg. If I were in lunge, my foot would be closer towards the midline, not exactly to the midline, but to the inside. My arm would be to the outside. This, we're gonna have our foot wider and the arm to the inside. This is what makes this one lizard pose. You have the option of lowering your back knee down to the mat. You have your towel. You can place your knee directly on top of your towel to give you the extra cushion. If you don't have a towel, you can roll the outer edge of your mat in, and then you can place your knee directly on top of that. So what that looks like is that. Okay, so just to show you that view of it. So with our knee down on the ground, we're gonna start to go as low as we can. So kind of like the limbo. If you happen to have a block handy, you can use this to support you so that you're lowering down at different levels and allowing yourself the opportunity to rest. So if you have that block, it'll look a little bit like this. And you'll place your elbows directly on top with the knee to the outside of my shin. Okay, eventually you're gonna make your way down all the way to the ground. Okay, eventually all the way down to the ground. Gets to be a pretty intense position. See if you can keep your knee hugged in towards your shoulder so it's not splaying out to the side. And so the ball of the foot is still on the ground. Good, another full breath in here. And then slowly press the hands into the ground. You're gonna lift the back knee up. We're gonna step the right foot back just because it's really hard to get that other foot forward. Stepping the right foot back into downward facing dog. Take another full breath in and deep breath out. Look up at your hands. You're gonna step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Then you're gonna lower your right knee down to the ground and then see if you can lower yourself onto your elbows and forearms towards the ground. Again, you can use your block if that's available for you. Pillows or bolsters or cushions also work handy here. Just anything that you can feel that you can prop yourself up onto with your elbows and forearms while still keeping your hips sinking down and forward. Again, the name of this pose is lizard pose. Good, one final breath here. And then pressing your hands into the floor, we're gonna step back into downward facing dog again. All right, next posture is known as pigeon pose, pigeon. And for pigeon pose, we're gonna bring our right knee forward to our right wrist. The foot is gonna swing over to the left side of the mat, to the left edge of the mat. So we're bringing our leg as far as we can towards the front edge, to the right. Our leg is at a diagonal from the right knee going towards about 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock position. And then our shin can start off where our foot, show you guys this view of it, where my foot is in the front of my hip, but the leg is at a diagonal. My knee should be pretty wide, if not wider than the hip. You should feel that it's actually quite a bit wider here. The back knee is going to come down to the ground. And you can give yourself that extra padding from the towel. And then for this position, the variation that we're going to be doing, we're just going to lower ourselves onto our elbows and forearms to allow ourselves to sink down into that external rotator stretch. So go for it right now. And I see if you can just breathe, which can be a rather challenging feat, especially if this is a hard position for you. A lot of people tend to feel sensation in the outer portion of the leg, maybe even the back side of the leg. And if you feel like your hips are pretty high up, what you can do is put that block underneath that right hip, trying to keep those hips level still. But it gives you that opportunity so that you don't have to feel the full intensity of this pose, and allows you to gradually relax into it. Because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find some ability to relax in something that might be uncomfortable. When we find that in our daily life, we are faced with this discomfort, things that are either awkward or painful or not pleasant, we learn that we can kind of get through those with more ease. Maybe we learn to breathe through the pose. Maybe we learn to relax along other parts that we don't necessarily need to use as much. So maybe our jaw can relax, or our eyebrows, or our hands, so we're not clenching our fists. Just learning to ease into our situation. Good. All right, let's come out of the pose and move into the other side. So we're going to go through our downward facing dog. Prop your hands, or prop yourself up onto your hands. You're going to curl the back toes under, lift the hips, and then allow the right leg to come back. You can take that same right leg up towards the sky just to counter it, and then bend the knee and drape the foot, and maybe make some knee circles here, and go in the other direction. And then releasing the right foot down to the ground. Inhale, left leg up, and left knee comes forward to your left wrist. The foot is over by your right side of the mat. As you become more flexible in this pose, you'll start to notice that your leg is going to be less at that deeper bend at the knee, and maybe you can bring your shin more parallel to the front edge of the mat, and this becomes a lot deeper stretch for some of us who are not feeling as much of the stretch in the hips. And then lowering down onto your elbows and forearms, and seeing if you can soften into the pose. And just relaxing your shoulders away from your ears. See if you can smooth the skin on your face. Relaxing your neck. It's okay to hang the head down, and if you have your hands out in front of you, you might even be able to stack fists or hands, make a little nest for your head to rest in. This one again is pigeon pose. I'm taking a few more breaths. Wonderful. Last breath here. And then pressing your hands into the floor. You make your way back into downward facing dog. Back toes curl, hips lift. Slide the left foot back.
Give yourself that counter if you did it on the other side, lifting that left leg up. Good, and then maybe bending the knee and draping the foot over towards the right side and making those big circles with left knee. Going in both directions. And releasing that foot down. Let's bring our knees to the ground. Slide them forward towards the wrist. Cross at the ankles or shins, and then sit back behind your feet. Before we come onto our back, sorry, the gardeners are next door and they're blowing a lot of stuff over here. Before we come onto our back, does anybody have any questions about any of the poses that we did today? Pigeon, squat, our happy baby pose, lizard, any of these hip opening poses? If you want, you can post something in the chat or unmute yourself. Okay, we're all good. Nobody's chiming in yet. All right, so we're gonna make our way all the way down onto our back. Take your legs with you. Just give yourself a rock side to side. We'll come into a nice twist. So let the knees tip over to the right. Let your left arm go in the opposite direction. You can use your right hand on the knees to help guide them down. Try to see if you can flatten left shoulder to the floor. And then inhale, lift the knees back up through center. Exhale, bring them over to the other side. And then right arm goes wide. Then lift the knees back up through center. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees. Squeeze in as tightly as you can. Then lower head and shoulders down. Extend the legs out in front of you and find yourself in your final resting pose. Close your eyes. Or place the towel over your eyes. Relax the mouth and jaw and start to get yourself more comfortable with the shoulder blades are underneath you. Maybe the arms are dropped down by your side. The feet wide, and the toes turned out. And just noticing the energy as it passes through your body. If there's a certain temperature to different body parts. Maybe there's a buzzing or tingling sensation. Just relaxing into the ground.
The reading for today is entitled Leaning In. And there's a quote from Melody Beattie. Few situations can be bettered by going berserk. It was the philosopher Michael Zimmerman who told the story of being a boy in school when someone passed him a pair of Chinese handcuffs, a seemingly innocent thimble-like casing with an opening at each end. It was passed to him without a word. Of course, through curiosity, he slipped his left forefinger in one end and his right in the other. Mysteriously, what made them handcuffs was that the more you tried to pull your fingers out, the tighter they held you. Feeling caught, he panicked and pulled harder. The small cuffs tightened, but suddenly it occurred to him to try the opposite. And as he leaned his fingers into the problem, the small casing slackened, and he could gently and slowly work his fingers free. So many times in life, our pulling and panic only handcuffs us more tightly. In this small moment, the philosopher as a boy reveals to us the paradox that underscores all courage, that leaning into what is gripping us will allow us to work our way free. So as you lie here, bring to mind a situation you feel stuck in, or a position you're being stubborn about. As you breathe, try to relax your self-protection so you can lean into the situation slightly. Note how this feels. And note if the energy around the situation loosens.
Oh, one more thing, I forgot.
Take another full breath in. Deep breath out. Another full breath. Open up your mouth and exhale with a sigh. Inhale and stretch the arms up and over. And release with a sigh. Gently tuck your knees into your chest. Wrap the arms around. Rock side to side for a moment, hugging yourself. And then carefully tipping over to one side, pressing hands into the floor, extending top leg, and easing your way up to a comfortable seat. Feel free to unmute yourself for the closing of our practice. Bring your hands together at heart center. Bow your head softly forward. The light within you stay.